So I don't know if you've ever exhibited at a comic convention before, but there is a lot of stuff going on. So how do you stand out amongst the crowd? Well, I just exhibited at a Phoenix Comic Fest, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to go around and talk to some of my friends and find out what they do to stand out. Greetings, people of the internet. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. Welcome, mad creators, to the underground laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. We also do comic conventions. I just did a comic convention. I did Phoenix Fan Fest over the weekend, and I had a lot of fun there. Actually, I did a whole wrap-up, which I will, if you haven't seen it, I'll put it to the end of this video. But while I was there, another thing that I did was I went and talked to some friends of mine and some new people that I just met the first time this year. And I thought I would do some interviews and talk to them about branding, because that, you know, if you've been watching this channel, you know I'm pretty big on branding, and I talk about the process behind my booth and setting that all up and how I go about exhibiting at conventions. But I wanted to get some other opinions and some people that I really admire, some people that I think are doing some cool things. So I thought you would like that too, and maybe I'll talk a little bit about my brand again, and we'll mesh it all together, and yeah, we'll see what we get. But without any further delay, let's go up here to the paralleloscope and let's go check out and see what's going on at the convention. All right, we're gonna walk around and talk to some friends about how they're doing their display, but first I wanted to talk to you about my own booth or table, or whatever you want to call it. In this case, I guess technically it's a table or two tables in the Artist Alley. I guess if you're out in the vendor area in this con, it's considered a booth. But if you're looking at this, you'll notice that everywhere you look, you're seeing Mad Science Supply Company, Serkworks Art Labs, all over the place from any angle that you look. And that's a conscious effort to try again, it's all the branding. You'll see it all over the place on the little displays and everything, because it's like those, when you listen to like a car commercial or any commercial on the radio, they're going to constantly nail you with that phone number and the name of their company over and over again, and that's kind of what I want to do here. Now, I'm making some major changes from last time. So last year, my booth, and I liked it a lot, and it was hard for me to let it go, but I had to. But last year, I had, kind of like you see in the beginning of the videos, the underground layer with the pipes and everything, that kind of Willy Wonka's factory style, and I really like that. Even what you're looking at now, the table, it used to look like a conveyor belt, and it was real colorful and everything, but I think that ultimately that distracted from my brand and everything. So I just decided, you know what, I'm going to simplify everything. I'm going to cut all that out, just make the brand all black and white, you know, and simple to follow. It says Serkworks Art Labs. People don't really know what that means. I guess they can figure out Art Lab. That's why I added the Art Lab to just Serkworks, because people know what art is and they know what a lab is, but they definitely know what a Mad Science Supply Company is. So you'll see it all over the place. You're going to be hard pressed to miss it. So that's the main thing I did. I also built some new displays, as you can see here. I have some of the folding, like, book displays and some spinner racks and things, but I built some displays that I can kind of pull apart and they kind of slide together, so they're flat when you ship them. So the whole idea was also that I can flatten this thing and it can be real compact when I transport it. But as you can see, I think this worked a lot better. Also, I'm on a corner, which really helps. Right here on the side, you can see any angle you look, you're going to see that Mad Science Supply Company or Serkworks. So, and this is the 3D print that if you're coming down the aisle, you see that right away, and people want to try that. And front and center in the middle of the booth, atop my plutonium case, which is a really good display case, it brings a lot of attention. Atop of those, I have my exclusive prints that I did for Phoenix Comic Fest, so that's kind of my main draw. That's what I'm trying to, you know, showcase the most, since that's the exclusive. So that's kind of my setup. So let's take a look around and talk to some other people. Hey everyone, so I am here with Stacey of Puppet PI, and Stacey is actually a performer for what? What do you do? What did you tell me you do?
I am a day player on Sesame Street.
Awesome, and I am a huge Henson fan, so I love all this stuff. And my daughters, they love I keep saying my daughters, but my daughter and my niece, they love your stuff. They always come by, and you know, at least play with your stuff, if not purchase some. I know they've got a few of them, but I just wanted to talk mainly about what you do. But the thing I'm most impressed with is sort of your branding, and that's kind of what I'm focusing on today, is how to brand your booth, how to stand out amongst the crowd, because there's so much stuff when you kind of pan around these comic conventions. There's so much stuff you have to, you know, compete with. So how do you do that? And just, I don't know, if you maybe even show me like a little demo how you do some puppeteering and everything.
One of the things that I discovered is that just having these little worm puppets sitting in a vase.
That's what sold my daughter.
But it wasn't enough. So what I do is I say, hey, do you guys want to watch the 10-second puppet show? First it was called the 15-second puppet show, and people would actually say no. They did not want to, oh no, I don't have time.
10 seconds is too long.
No, 15. It was 15 is too long. Then I called it the 12-second puppet show. It's still too long. Call it the 10-second puppet show. Everybody's like, okay, I have 10 seconds. Because this was like experimenting over the years. So then I do this very quick little demonstration. It's really a demo is what it is.
I love it.
And then it kind of just shows off his little tricks, and then he can jump. But it kind of shows people, it's instead of having a video playing over and over that's impersonal, you have a show that interacts. It doesn't have any language in it. It's a show that can cross cultural boundaries, language boundaries, and it doesn't require audience participation, which can make the person standing 2 feet from you uncomfortable.
Right.
The other thing I try and do is always have a wow piece in my booth. So this year I actually don't have one of my $1,000 puppets. That's usually what draws people in.
Awesome.
And then they look at the other things. So when I don't have that, then I've got this guy up here. His name's Big Blue.
Big Blue. We'll check out Big Blue.
It took about 80 hours to make. And he's hand sewn. So he's my wow piece that I can bring with me no matter what.
That's awesome. So I just want to kind of show some of I love these guys here.
Thanks. Those guys are new this year. That's the other thing I try and do is I try and innovate and bring new things every year.
That's great. All right. Well, thank you, Stacey. I really appreciate it. Thanks for talking to me about everything. And I just love the way you branded yourself, and everything looks awesome.
Thanks.
So, hey everyone, I am here with Jason Rogers from Fez Arama.
How's it going?
And I wanted to, because I love your booth, and I follow you on Instagram, and I see how you're making everything. I just kind of want to, hold on, I want to kind of pan around to the front of your booth real quick. And I've seen you with the bamboo and how you dye all this stuff, and I love your setup, but I wanted to, let me pan up here a little bit, sorry. So I wanted to, whoa, not the best cameraman. So I wanted to talk to you and kind of find out your whole philosophy and branding and what you do to kind of stand out amongst all the other stuff here at the convention. And so
I have a loose concept of what Fez Arama is as far as like a brand identity, and it kind of got this like 1930s exotica feel. I got my start in the tiki scene.
Awesome.
So, and I love bamboo, so it's kind of like there's a heavy tiki influence in what I'm building, and I kind of wanted. It's got a bar atmosphere almost, which fits in with what we're selling, which is the Fez's have that kind of exotica bar vibe. And I wanted to make it like a service oriented, so like a service counter kind of thing, so people can walk up to it as opposed to sitting down the back of a booth and having people walk in. We're not doing flat art, we're doing something different.
Right.
And we have multiple sizes, so it does help to have someone walk you through the process of trying it on and getting what your hat you're having an experience with it. So everything kind of came from that idea of like we should have like a bar atmosphere, and that guided me through it. And I like Art Deco, so smooth curves, that was always kind of the scene. And then as I was building it, I discovered like I was never happy with the vinyl banners that I had done because the glare on them, and I couldn't get them matte enough the way I wanted them to, because I wanted them to have that kind of abstract vintage feel, like this business has been around since the 30s.
Right.
So that's where a lot more of the painting and the bamboo came in, to where just give it kind of a weathered feel. And also that way I wouldn't have to worry about damage, because if it gets scratched up and paint gets rubbed around, it's part of it. It's it's there. It's got that roadside attraction kind of vibe to it.
So yeah, that's awesome. Now, the one thing you guys definitely do different as far as your business model that I always tell people to do this, even though I don't really do it, is you kind of focus mostly on one particular thing.
yeah, we have a core thing, which was it created itself.
Right.
So I just started making pheasants for friends, and then
Right.
people would stop us and ask where we got them. So it was almost like, you know, the audience demanded that I make pheasants.
Awesome.
It was basically an outlet for my artwork. So in my mind, it's almost like it's my poster. Like it's the place I get to do my drawings.
Right.
So I'm lucky in that sense that I have a thing and I have a context, a frame for what I'm doing. I'm designing an embroidery for, but it comes from just my doodles, my sketches.
Awesome. And I've seen your sketches, and you should definitely follow Jason. I assume it's Fez Arama. I know I follow you.
Fezmonger is my
Fez
personal
Monger.
feed. You'll see a lot of sketches on that on
Okay.
Instagram.
Okay.
Fez Arama would be Fezogram is the official business one, but that's mostly just posting what cons we're going to be at.
Yeah. Okay.
But for my personal sketches and illustrations,
yeah, I love the sketches, and I love just the behind the scenes stuff with you working on your booth and everything.
Yeah,
and you're always switching it up. You're always changing, and I mean, it just looks great. I just love everything with you. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
So hey everyone, I am here with Will Terry. Now, Will, I watch all your videos. You've done, I mean, you basically share everything, your whole process, your whole journey of kind of doing the conventions and everything. And what I'm most concerned about, my audience is concerned about, is like branding and how you kind of stand out from the crowd. Now you're doing the fan art, but you kind of got a different spin on it and everything.
Yeah.
And basically in your videos, you talk about all the different things you do to kind of separate yourself from everyone else in here. So if you don't mind, you mind talking a little bit about that?
Sure. So one of the things that I had to learn this the hard way. When I did my first
You might
booth,
speak up just a little bit.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. So when I did my first comic convention, I tried to mix in my children's book art with the fan art, and so I had kind of when you rolled up on my booth, I think you would see, well, one, it was really sloppy. I mean, I didn't have the displays very well, very nice. But the other thing is, I was sending mixed signals. I was sending signals of, children's book art, but also fan art, and they were both fighting each other. And when you go through Artist Alley, sometimes, unfortunately, that's a lot of what you'll see is, like as artists, we create all kinds of different things, and we're like, and I think our mindset is, because I've created all these different things, someone will want this thing, and someone will want that thing, and someone might even want this thing over here. And so we bring it all and we put it, it's all different shapes and sizes and stuff. And not that you can't make that work, but you have to have a vision of making it work. It's hard to put into words.
No, I know, because it's exactly, I'm trying to do that with mine. So basically everything I do is kind of mad science oriented, and I like to do all kinds of things because I get bored with one thing.
Right.
Now, I understand that it works better when you work one thing, because I do comics, I do everything. Now, if I was just selling comics, I'd sell a lot more comics. If I was just selling like mystery box, I do all that stuff. But I'm able to tie it all into one central theme, which is all mad science. So, but you're doing something completely different, and it's definitely working for you.
And one of the things that was conscious was, there's so much color here at Comic-Con, and your eyes, we're all competing for eyeballs.
Exactly.
So one of the things I thought as a illustrator and as a graphic designer, I thought, if I put everything on a white background, it's going to stand out, and if everything is the same. So over time, it is metamorphed into everything's vertical.
Yeah.
Except for the few exceptions, like the Jar Jar in the top.
Let me pan up here. Yeah. I want to get up here and kind of check everything out.
Yeah. But everything else is vertical. Yeah.
It's Wayne, right? Hey Wayne, how's it going? Yeah, so Will, I noticed when you first started you were doing mostly black and white, and now I know you're starting to add color, but it's still kind of subdued, so I still think it kind of stands out.
So, and that's what we kind of realize is, I think probably there's definitely hardcore black and white fans who like that stuff. Right. But I would say it's probably a 60-30, 60-40 split maybe to color, so color is more. And then you have like characters like Hellboy or Darth Maul, where without the color, it's not
exactly.
So that's kind of where the color kind of crept back in, but still staying on the white background. I will say, one thing that I've noticed is, with one comment we've heard, multiple times, is when people see our booth, they're like, "Oh, I want to get something here." Like it's almost like it's a ride. Like if you were at an amusement park and people, you know, they get a glimpse of a roller coaster, like, I want to ride that. It's like, you know, it's like a shop in the mall.
Right.
Imagine, like, what are the colors for, like Pac Sun? And it should be the yellow comes to your mind if you're familiar with that. If you're familiar with that store. And so I think for as far as branding, you should really be trying to set yourself apart. Get your own colors, or your own way of coloring, your own graphics.
Yeah, I'm all about like the lime green.
Yep.
I brand everything.
Yep. And then people in their mind, because another thing that's interesting is how many people are repeat customers. Like this woman right here, repeat customer, right? And it's amazing how many people will come back year after year. That shocked us. Probably. Keep your hands down.
There's Wayne. There's the master salesman. I understand.
Don't put your hands up. Keep your hands down.
No, but thank you so much, Will. I appreciate taking your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome, and I will send you a link. So,
all right.
Nice meeting you. Hey everyone, I'm here with Sean from Shawnee Poo. Let me kind of pan up to see his banner up here. So, Sean, what I want to kind of talk about today, if I can get you in frame here, all right, is I want to talk about branding because I think you're doing some cool stuff. Now, you do the fan art and everything, but you're doing your original strip right now.
Yes.
And so you and I, it sounds like, I assume you're an Arizona native like myself, or at least you've been here long enough.
Yes.
So we'll get into a little bit of that because there's something that you kind of basing a lot of things on that's really near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
But so I just want to kind of get your ideas on how you brand yourself. Now, the cool thing is we look at your character here. Let's kind of pan down to Shawnee Poo here. He's got he's got the red hat, the printed tie. He's got the red cons, and obviously here you go. And we're gonna check this out. He's got the red cons too. So awesome. So whoa, here we go. What's going on? I am not the best cameraman. But anyway, so Sean, so what's the whole idea behind Shawnee Poo and everything that you're doing, and just talk a little about how you're branding yourself and how you're trying to separate yourself from everyone else here at the con.
Okay,
how
so
you standing out?
With branding, standing out, it's about getting a logo, getting your brand. I mean, brand yourself. Look,
Right, exactly.
look what I'm doing. I took a note from Steve Jobs. I mean, he's not in Comic-Con,
Right.
but I read up. I want to read up on successful people. People are making moves that have done it.
Right.
And what did Steve Jobs do? He had a look.
Yeah.
He had the turtleneck, the black turtleneck, and the jeans, and that was it. And that's what I think sets everyone apart. You know, Scott, you do it as well. You've got your look.
Right.
And then brand. Put your logo on everything. Put it around the backdrop, also in the front table. Let everyone know, even with my prints, look at this print, turn it around, I got it bagged and
that
board.
is something that I'm not doing that I need to do.
Brand it, because if they only buy this print,
Right.
guess what? Oh, I really love this.
And I would say especially with the fan art, because the problem is a lot of people just buy the fan art for the characters, but if you're putting your brand and everything on there, then at least they know who created it and everything. It's not just, oh, I bought this because it's the Hulk or Superman or Wonder Woman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then when I forgot, who did this? Oh, it's right behind here. And I got a business card in there as well. And it just, brand everything.
Awesome.
Put it over
So
on
let's
everything.
just talk about your own original character, Shawnee Poo. What's he all about?
All right, so I'm doing this webcomic. It's an amazing webcomic. I want to put it out every Monday. I want to bring back the Sunday funnies, but instead of Sunday, I want it Monday because we're all going back to the daily grind.
Right.
But I want it so that it could pick us up, get us all excited and ready for the week. And with it is my character, Shawnee Poo. Shawnee Poo is a little boy that takes his dad's junk. Now, it's not necessarily junk. It's his dad's iPad Pro. It's a working toaster. It's an old school retro gaming console. And he builds his best friend, Fuji the robot. And so it's their adventures, going through elementary school, having fun with the neighborhood friends around the block, and then also playing pranks on Shawnee Poo's dad, who actually resembles, God rest his soul, my amazing father.
Awesome. So very near and dear to your heart.
Oh, yeah.
Now, So, like I was alluding to before, you and I both grew up in Arizona.
Yes.
So there was this show, and a lot of people, I found a lot of different places have these shows like Bozo the Clown and things, but we had this thing called Wallace and Ladmo.
Yep.
At one point, I don't know if it's still the case, but at one point it was the longest running kids television show in history.
35 years.
My dad watched it, I watched it, I don't know, I think my kids were a little too young, but it went on for 30 years, and it was these two guys, and they didn't talk down to kids. They just did these, they showed cartoons and did all this awesome stuff, but they would bring kids on the show and they could win something. It was like the holy grail for anyone that lived in Arizona. It was called the Ladmo bag. So you kind of took that idea. Now tell everyone what you did.
The Ladmo bag was infamous. I never got one.
Right.
And those
my brother actually got one, so he's one of the few.
But those who didn't, oh my gosh, it was infamous. I never got a Ladmo bag.
Right.
And so what I did was you take the things around you, like Scott. I've watched Scott on YouTube plenty of times. Will Terry, YouTube, Caitlin, and I take what you guys are talking about. I take bits and pieces and I implement it.
Right.
Ladmo bag. What I did was I'm gonna have a strip that's gonna be coming out, and it's gonna be where Shawnee Poo forgets his lunch money. So Shawnee Poo goes and, oh shucks, all right Fuji man, I forgot my lunch money. What do you got for me, man? And so Fuji doesn't communicate like we do verbally. He's kind of like R2 in a way.
Right.
It's all boop, 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 boop. So he goes and does this, boop, 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 and down comes his stomach. It slowly opens up, and out comes this robotic hand, and it's a brown paper bag called a Shawnee Poo bag. And what I like to do is I like to do workshops with kids. I want to get into the school system. And when I do these little art shows and events with the kids, I talk about me, I talk about Shawnee Poo in the webcomic, and then also about the Shawnee Poo bag so they can kind of get familiar. Then I go through my whole spiel, do the whole art program with it, and then afterwards, when I get all done with it, I kind of end off, hey, my name is Sean. Thank you guys for all coming out. This is what I love doing. I love smiles, man. Smiles is what I crave, and smiles is what I'm after. And once I get done, I got a surprise for you guys. Oh, I just got a text message. It's from Fuji the robot. He just wanted to remind me to give one of these Shawnee Poo bags out. And I give one out to one of the kids, and not to let the other kids feel left out, I'll have like a print with them to give away as also. And what it is it's a goodie bag. I got a sponsor, Drawn to Comics, amazing Glendale comic book store. Definitely. Oh my goodness, they help sponsor this, put a book in every bag because I believe kids need to read, and not just kids. I believe parents need to read as well. Yeah. I mean, it's important, it's vital. No one is exempt from learning. Every day, there's always something to learn. No matter how big, no matter how small, there's always something to learn and also to smile about.
Right. Awesome. And so what else? Are we allowed to see what else is in there? I mean, I know Ladmo used to show whatever was in there, but are you a little more secretive?
I'm a little secretive, but it's a goodie bag. I mean, believe me, when I talk to the kids, they go, what is a Shawnee Poo bag? Right. And I tell them, you guys don't know what a Shawnee Poo bag is? It's the best thing in the world. Oh, it's better than a Happy Meal. And the kids just get excited. They love my character. They love Fuji. Right. They love Fuji. Oh my goodness.
That's awesome. I just love your enthusiasm, Sean. So thanks for talking with me, and I hope you have a great show.
I will. And thank you, Scott, man. Right. It's because of guys like you who have helped me take the next step up each and every time. Honest.
Well, it's just paying it forward. I was just talking to Daniel from Steam Crow, and he's kind of like the same thing. He's the guy that kind of got me doing this. So you will do the same. You'll show people how to do it, especially with this video. So thanks again, Sean.
Thank you so much.
So I'm here with Sam from Simply Sam, and you're my table neighbor this year at Phoenix Comic Fest. And what I'm talking about with other artists today is just branding your booth. And obviously, if you look, everything from the hair to the prints, everything, it's all, I mean, you just got an awesome brand. So do you want to talk about a little bit the philosophy behind that, or how you came
Well, I guess the biggest thing is noticing coincidences or what's the word? It's the end of the day on Sunday. So noticing things that, just go together.
Right.
And things that keep on happening. I'm sure, I'll learn it later. But I started noticing I was doing a lot of colors that pinks and blues and purples,
Right.
and eventually, like I just noticed it, and I was like, let's keep this going.
Right.
And I guess like the biggest thing about like branding yourself is really like finding what you love and sticking to it. Like find something that's unique, like something that not everybody does.
Right.
Like you don't really see a lot of purples and pinks,
Right.
like, you know, bright and obnoxious, like pink-haired girls, you know, whatever. Like you find what you love and you make it yours. Like
Right.
you make it yours.
Right.
And also I think confidence is a really big
Yeah,
thing too.
and I can definitely tell that with you, and I'm getting better at that myself. But so you kind of integrate a lot of fan art characters, but it looks like, so you've got the tarot decks. Are those all your own original ideas and everything?
Yes, it is. The tarot deck is the full 78 cards, and it's all done by me. Pretty much it's been a really awesome journey drawing them, writing out the meanings, and now we're in the packaging process. So we're really getting there.
Awesome.
It's
So
awesome.
Is there any like social media links you want to give out where
Yes.
people can find you?
Pretty much if you just look up Sincerely Sam, you'll find me everywhere, and I'm going to toss you my card.
Okay.
Little super zoom close up on that.
There you go.
All that good stuff. Oh wait, and then like the back with all the social media, that's important.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Sam. It's been a pleasure tabling next to you. You're
Anytime.
awesome.
Thank you.
So I am here today with Daniel from Steam Crow and Monster Rangers. Now, Daniel, last time we talked to you before last time on my channel last year at Phoenix Comic Fest, or Comic Con back then, and we talked a little bit about doing your own thing, not really selling fan art, but creating your own stuff. But today I want to kind of talk about branding and how you brand your booth and everything. So first, if you tell me a little bit what your brand is all about, and then if you can give me just kind of a quick booth tour to kind of show me what you're doing, how you're standing out amongst the crowd and everything
Sure.
like that.
So we're Steam Crow, and the Steam Crow makes the Monster Rangers. So the Monster Rangers is this community that we made that's a little bit like scouting, where we believe in monsters, right? So we have badges you can collect. We make gear around this idea. But 1903, like old-timey, like this thing was from a long time ago. So a lot of our things are old-looking, old design, distressed materials, and we're trying to reflect that in the booth design as well as in the artwork. They need to be the same. So one way we stand out is, of course, just being different with our core product. That's number one. We're not just copying someone else that has a successful model. So we try to make our own voice, cook in our own quirks, all the things that make us weird and different. And we make that part of what our brand is, so it's authentic. 'Cause
Right.
that's super important. So all of it is the same to us. The booth design is the same as the website design, is the same as the design of the products. It's one unified thing. So when you put it all together, it ends up being something fairly strong. So our world is often antique, so we tend to do things like make it old-timey with, distressing. Like
yeah.
I found this at an antique store, or this.
And you build all the displays yourself and everything. You do everything yourself, all laser cut.
We do, yep. It's all us because we don't want to have a booth like anyone else.
Right.
And so this booth also, the magic of it is actually made to go to campouts because we host campouts.
And I want to pull back and I want to show the booth and how it, look at this. That's the Monster Rangers. It's so awesome. Now you were telling me that this can actually be taken outside and set up outside as well?
So what we used to have was a big print wall and a print tower, and it was fine, but there's no way you could go outside. Even doing street shows, the wind would come and knock it all down. So we had to rethink the whole thing. We looked at medieval tent design, we looked and medieval vendors, we looked at the SCA, we looked at reenactors, World War I or Civil War reenactors, and we looked at everything, and we ended up with this thing. And it's made out of steel, and it's made out of steel canopy fittings. So it is made to have an awning and actually survive weather.
All right.
So yeah, on the other side though,
Let's
we
take
need
a
to
look
expand.
around. Because we've got sort of the Monster Rangers on one side, and then on this
Steam Crow
side,
shirts on the other.
we've got Steam Crow, and we've got all the shirts and everything.
So this is like an option for us. Like we're not going to do this very often, but on those shows that are really great, we can expand and just double the booth and have a different offering on this side.
Awesome,
so
awesome.
It's not really for many shows, but it still works.
Yeah, so I appreciate it, and I just want to let everyone know, and I'm going to pan around here so people can see the booth, but a lot of people, they kind of go to my YouTube channel because they like what I'm doing with my brand, but really Daniel is the one that pretty much is the master and kind of helped me along, kind of tutored me and taught me pretty much everything I know. So most everything I learned, I kind of learned from Daniel, and I appreciate that, Daniel, and thank you so much for taking the time and talking to me, especially since we filmed this whole thing before. We had to do it twice. So
twice. Can I do my pitch?
You can do your pitch, absolutely.
Come see us at steamcrow.com and join up at monsterrangers.com.
All right. Thanks, Daniel. All right, so there you go. So I want to thank everyone that took the time to give me an interview and sort of talk about their process, what goes on in their heads while they're planning out their booth setup, and just their whole branding strategy. I really find all this very interesting, and I imagine you guys too if you're tuning into this, because I talk about that kind of stuff a lot. So, but it's good to get a different perspective just from my perspective, what other people do, and I really do that, and I learned some things, and hopefully you learned some things too. So yeah, I had a great time at Phoenix Fan Fest, so that was between the wrap up and the interviews. I think that will pretty much put a cap on my whole Phoenix Comic Fest experience, and looking forward to next year, and I will see you guys later. That is all. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me here in the Art Lab. There's a lot of other great content on the channel, so click that subscribe button and you won't miss a thing. If you're an aspiring evil genius, visit Serkworks.com for all your mad science supply needs. And if you want to contact me, hit me up in the comments section or follow me on social media. I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you then.